wouldn't do that to you. Look who we have. Welcome in. It's our first guest on the daily puck drop. We do it every single day here at pucksports.com, which you can find it there. You can find it on YouTube. Just search Puck Sports. Also, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, my favorite part, wherever you find your podcast. Normally just me going off for about 25, 30 minutes, but the beautiful, the handsome, the well-groomed Brad Adam is here with us on the Daily Puck Drop. Hashtag Brad, the DPD. All right? Well, you're our first guest. Welcome.
I like that. I got to get up early to be your first guest.
I know you had to get up early. There's a day game for the Mariners.
Day games are killing us.
I know they are. They're just ruining us. So we thought we would do it early. We'll get kind of a preview. We can recap yesterday, and then we'll have the human pony cake. Ryan Divish will be on the show later. Ryan will come on and spread his sunshine and joy coming up live from Toronto afterwards. But we thought we'd get you on. So welcome in. How are you?
Thank you, man. I'm good. Thank you. Yeah, up. I've got kids away in Palm Springs for spring break.
The whole family's
gone. The dog. Yeah, just me and the dog for the last 3 nights.
So the whole family packed up in the Griswold wagon and said, we're headed to Palm Springs and you've got to stay back because you got to work. Someone's got to earn some money in the Adam household.
Exactly. And I got the dog. And I tell you what, Puck, not once.
How good is it?
Yeah, they're like, hey, do you miss us? I'm like,
no, you don't. You got to lie a little bit.
Hey, not once has that TV been turned to the Hallmark Channel. We have not watched any Love Island or Bachelorette or whatever. I tell you what, I have to watch some of that with the girls. I don't know if you've seen that because your kids aren't old enough.
No, I mean, my daughter's 14. She doesn't watch
she's
that.
Into it.
But she watches. There's something on HBO that she's into right now. Little Big Things or Little Big Lies or something like that. I don't know. That's what she's watching.
Now, this show, it's ridiculously dumb, as you would imagine. They all are.
Of course. Yes,
but
absolutely.
This one is really promoting hooking up and going as far as you can. And the girls are watching and talking about hooking up and this and that. I'm like,
the second my daughter comes down and says, my daughter comes down from her bedroom and goes, I'm going to check out this new show on HBO called Euphoria. I'm like, no, we're going to X out HBO. That's gone forever.
I've seen a few episodes. It has to be gone forever. Zendaya, she's like a Disney star. It'll be fine.
Between me and you've seen more than a few, huh?
With Sydney Sweeney? Oh, my God. Jesus. Are you kidding me?
Oh, Lordy. Yeah. All right, here it is.
Not for my girls.
Not for your girls. The Daily Puck Drop. We try to cover the top stories of the day here. Brad Adams is our first guest here on the Daily Puck Drop. We'll try to do this a little bit more. Let's just focus in on the M's. You got the pregame show today. On Root Sports. What time are you going to be on the old air?
We're on at 11:30 with the Aussie, the hyphen. Now, it's kind of fun to watch Toronto play because, they have Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, the second hyphen, but we have to call, Ryan gets a little touchy when I mention, hey, there's my favorite hyphen. He does not like that. So
are they the only two ever in the history of the sport?
I think there was one more.
Okay.
But I think he's the only current one. So, I like to claim his.
Here's my advice to you, and you don't need it, and Root Sports doesn't need it.
I love your advice. No, I love it.
Let's focus on the pregame on that, and let's just not talk about the team.
What do you want to talk about last night, right?
Well, I don't know, man.
A couple of home runs.
They have dropped the first 2 games. They're 4-8 on the season. It'll be Gilbert and Kikuchi, but we've seen it's the same thing, right? It's poor defense, it's poor pitching, and the offense isn't delivering. What do you make of what's happening right now with the starters? Because this is the one thing that we thought going into the season, right, Brad? This was going to be rock solid, and so far, none of them have been rock solid.
Yeah, that's been the one big surprise. You're right. You kind of guessed that the offense would be spotty, hit and miss, and it has been. Although they have started to homer lately, which is a good sign. The defense, we thought it could play out like this, and it certainly has the first 12 games. The start, it's a little boggling, to figure out what is wrong with these guys. One thing you can point to with Castillo and Kirby, their last couple of outings, they just can't put away hitters with 2 strikes. They're giving up a lot of 2-strike hits and a lot of 2-strike RBIs. And these guys are really good about once you get the 2 strikes, then what do? You spread the zone a little bit. You spin it a little bit. You get him to chase a little bit. But for whatever reason, they're too close to the plate, and these guys are fouling off pitch after pitch. I think it was 26 foul balls last night on Kirby. The one at bat, Springer, is a great example, right? Third inning, he fouls off 8 consecutive pitches. Kirby just couldn't put him away with 2 strikes, and he ended up getting an RBI single.
The same problem with Castillo the night before, but it's been the same problem for Castillo all season long. I wonder if there's a rhyme or reason to it. I mean, they didn't seem to have an issue with it a year ago or 2 years ago.
No, you're right. And the stuff is pretty much exactly the same. The pitching guys are saying the velo is there, the movement is there. It's just, for whatever reason, they're getting too much of the plate. When they're making mistakes, it's too much of the plate. And again, with 2 strikes, they're just not able to get the swing and miss like they normally have. It's weird to watch them because you're so used to them, striking out and getting deep in games, and they just haven't done that. They're just like almost pitching to contact, and they're getting hit. And to your point earlier about the defense, plays are not being made behind them.
Right.
We saw a couple more last night with Polanco. He only has 1 error technically on the year.
Technically, but there's a handful of errors.
Exactly.
And what he's not doing, he's not helping them out. He's not doing anything that helps them out defensively. And then you see it. And the one thing we like about George Kirby is this guy will wear his emotions on his sleeve. Mm-hmm. So when plays are not being made behind him, he gets so agitated about it. And almost it's to a point where it is affecting the way he pitches. When people don't make the plays behind him, you can see the frustration growing. I mean, he was frustrated last night. He's throwing his glove. He's agitated the second he comes out of that game. So, yeah, I mean, defensively, they're not making plays. Kirby, though, I would also say this. There was a point in the game yesterday, and I don't know if it was the Springer at bat, but it was early in the game where he wasn't holding the runner on over at first base, and the guy had a lead. I can't blanking on who it was.
Varsho.
His was halfway down the first baseline.
Yeah,
and he's not even paying attention.
Right,
and then finally
gets the balk. Yeah,
and then he gets the balk. Yeah, I mean I guess, Brad, it's little things like this that they're not doing well. They almost look, and I know that they prepare as well as any team does in spring training and even out of spring training, but they look unprepared, and they look like they haven't been practicing, which is kind of mind-boggling and frustrating to watch and cover.
Agreed. And when things are going well, it's good baseball. When things aren't going well, it's bad baseball in all facets. And the skipper's talking about it last night post-game. They're just not playing well. They're not playing like the Mariners, right? They're not pitching. They're not playing defense. They're not getting timely hitting. We talked yesterday, Puck, and it's the same record after 12 games as last year, 4-8. That doesn't make it any better, but it lets you know that there's a lot of time and season left, as these guys keep saying. And also, when you look at the standings, they're really being helped out by nobody is doing anything in the West. Texas got out to a nice start. Now they've lost 3 in a row. They're at 6-5. They and the Angels lead the division. Houston, 4-8.
Yeah.
All right. So that really helps them.
Is it scary, though, to keep kind of going back, hey, we've been here before, we'll do it again? Because I'm with you. It feels like a run will be happening and will come. Right. And it's such a long season, and they have tended to get off to these poor starts. Julio always gets off to a slow start. At least that's what he's been like early in his career. But, I mean, we went through this a couple of years ago. Can the bullpen do it one more time? Now the bullpen was able to replicate what they did a few years ago, how sharp they were and how well they executed. But can we rely on them going on a long run again? This would be the 3rd straight year where they would stumble and then go on this incredible run. I think it's yes, they can, but boy, it's a lot to ask for a team to do that 3 straight years.
It is, and it's a little different team, a little different players. I think guys with track records that will and can hit. Haniger's starting to heat up. I mean, I think he's going to be fine. Polanco, we assume is going to be fine, right?
Francis look good.
JP and Julio, I would imagine they would be fine. But yet, when will they be fine? And also, you mentioned the bullpen. They've had some big injuries, with Brash and Santos out. That really hurts them. Now you got a couple of more guys, and Bolton and Snyder out. They had a couple of more call-ups from AAA. So they're piecing it together now. When those guys get back in May, I would imagine that gives them, a boost. The 7th, 8th, 9th inning, becomes much more clear for them. Bigger arms, more dominant arms. I think that, you hope that they keep leads, you keep winning games, you start to go on a streak a little bit. But maybe it's going to be, when those guys get back and the offense tries to kind of figure it out a little bit. They just got to kind of tread water until, I guess, all the facets start clicking like they're not doing now.
Do you think, can you looking back to last year, do you get a sense that the players in the same vibe in the clubhouse, or is this year carry a little bit more concern and frustration than maybe a year ago?
I think because of the changes and kind of who they brought in and who they got rid of, it's a little confusing, a little frustrating that they're still striking out at an alarming rate, one of the highest in all of baseball. It was 10 more last night. And it just looks the same, hopefully it won't look the same all season, but the offense, again, very spotty, hit and miss. As I mentioned, they have started to homer, 4 homers the last 2 games, which has been nice. But there's no panic, but there's more frustration, maybe not even the right word, just kind of like surprise almost, like, man, we're 4-8
because they're just not making games. They're offensively, they're not making anybody work. No. Where the opposing offenses are really making these starters work, especially you mentioned the 2 strikes, right? 4 2-strike hits yesterday, 3 runs in the second off 2 strike hits. But then on the flip side, offensively, they're not putting any pressure at all on these starters. Like,
no traffic,
none of them. No traffic, no nothing. Minimal runners in scoring position. I mean, you're right about the home runs, but you can't live and die on just solo shots.
No, and that's what's hurting them too. And you're right. The first 6 innings, the first couple of times through the lineup, they're just getting nothing done. You go back to the Milwaukee series, and they've hit some home runs and they've scored late against the back end guys of the bullpen, kind of the not the elite arms in the bullpen, because it's 5-0, it's 5-1, and the guys just kind of closing out games. It's frustrating, obviously, to watch. And I think what else is frustrating, and fans like to point it out, Puck, is when you look at all the guys, the high strikeout guys that they got rid of, are all playing pretty well,
doing great
so far, right?
Like tearing the cover off the ball. I notice it. I notice it every morning when I wake up.
Hey, how about Jose Caballero with the with the Rays,
Tampa Bay?
Yeah. 353, 3 more hits last night, playing shortstop. Come on.
It just feels like the organization at times is cursed. Let me ask you here, Brad Adam, our guest. Normally we talk to Brad solo on Wednesdays, but because we got a day game today, we thought we'd welcome on to be the very first guest here on the Daily Puck Drop. Awesome. The hashtag DPD. You can find it anywhere, pucksports.com, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, anywhere. Just search Puck Sports. Your family, when do they come back? Because they're gone. Brad's home by himself with the dog.
Awesome. Tonight.
Monday?
Oh, tonight. I know. They left. They come back tonight. And they switched their flight to come in a little earlier. I'm like, hey, don't worry about it.
Did you try and convince them, son, hey, stay a little extra longer?
I know.
There's a flight out of Palm Springs at 4:30 p.m. Perfect for you guys to take that one. In fact, don't even worry about it. I'll do it for you.
Yeah, let me change it. Stay another day. It's cold and rainy here. You don't want to come back.
You don't want to come back. Nothing would be better for you as an avid golf fan to have them away
and
starting tomorrow through Sunday. It's the greatest.
It's an off day, and
tomorrow is the greatest week in the history of sports.
Yes,
the Masters.
And it's an off day tomorrow.
Oh man!
But instead.
No.
Who knows what I'll be doing?
We're going to, my wife's got her family has a place in Idaho. And so we're going over there. We're leaving Thursday to go over there. Thursday night.
Nice. My mom lives there. Where in Idaho?
Kind of by Spirit Lake. You know where that's at? Kind of by Coeur d'Alene, Sandpoint area. Yeah. And so, where America is?
Yeah.
And so my wife sends me a link. She's like, the CEO. She goes, hey, here's a hike I think we're going to do on Saturday. I go, you guys have fun.
Yeah.
I will not be going on a hike. I'm going
7 o'clock at night. I'll go on a hike.
I'm going to be sitting my fat ass on a couch watching golf. I'm literally just driving 400 miles
to go
watch golf, to go sit down. Real quickly, who do you like? You got a favorite?
Oh, Masters or
And,
Mariners?
Masters.
I like Gilbert today. I think
Okay, well, Chris,
Kikuchi.
you like
No,
Gilbert.
yeah,
Kikuchi because he's sleeping in too much. The guy sleeps 14
right.
hours. No way he's going to be prepared for the game today.
Nut job that guy is. Much like in my NCAA basketball
You're going to
pool,
go chalk.
I did not go UConn because that was
Okay.
too easy. I'm not going to go Scheffler. That's too easy.
Okay. Too easy.
Tiger, no.
That'd be
you
great.
know who I'm going to go with? And I believe the pronunciation, I'm not quite sure, but the big kid
Aubert?
from Norway. Ludwig
Aubert.
Oh, is that how you say it?
I think it's Aubert.
Aubert or Aubert?
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 I just call him Ludwig.
Ludwig.
So you're gonna go with the rookie.
I'm going with the rookie, Ludwig. And also I like Zalatoris. Come back from a little back injury. I think he'll do well as well.
He just makes me nervous with the putter.
I know.
He makes me real nervous with the putter.
Which is surprising.
He has played great there.
And I would love to say Rory too. But does anybody think that he can win there?
I'm going to go Brooksy. I'm putting my money on Brooks Koepka.
No.
Yeah.
Why?
I'm going to do it. Because I just think he's due, and he doesn't care about anything other than these majors, and I think he's going to do it. It's crazy. They had the stat last night on Golf Channel. All these other greats, who have 5 majors, they've got, 50, 45, 50 plus wins, right?
Right.
He's only won 16 times on the tour. 5 of them are majors.
Jeez.
I mean, that is insane.
That's crazy.
Man.
Yeah, you're right. That's all he plays now. You're right.
That's all he cares, and that's all he cares about. So that's what I'm going with. All right,
wrong.
enjoy 11:30 Root Sports pregame.
Yes.
Brad, Adam, what do you guys got planned on the program today?
Well, I'll make fun of the hyphen, which is what I do about half the show. I enjoy that. We'll go back a little bit last night. We'll talk some Julio as well. His exit velocity. Stat guys love this. It's really, he hits the ball just so hard.
He's scorching him.
He's unlucky, and he's going to get it going. But we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk Logan Gilbert. Talk this road trip. They've lost 6 of 7. They got to get this one, get back home, and enjoy the home crowd at T-Mobile. But that's all coming up at 11:30 game noon.
Okay, you are the best. Thank you for being the very first guest on the Daily Puck Drop, the DPD. You look
great. It's all
great.
downhill from now for you.
It is all downhill. Again, tell your family, stay longer.
Take that late flight.
Yeah, take the late flight. All right, Brad, we'll talk to you next week.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
There he is, Brad Adam, Root Sports, who will join us. He joins us every Wednesday, but because of the day game today, we thought, hey, let's just do the DPD, the Daily Puck Drop. And he said, okay, we made it work. And I think we'll add more guests onto it. I think the Daily Puck Drop deserves a live guest. Quickly, the Mariners, we kind of touched on it there with Brad. I mean, it's just a disaster. Offensively, they're not good, especially against right-hand pitchers. They rank dead last in almost every statistical category. Offensively, the starting pitching now is a problem. And maybe they're just in a rut, what have you. But boy, it has just been uncharacteristic of this team, of what they're doing starting pitching-wise. And go back to the George Kirby thing real quick. He's a great dude. I mean, I love George Kirby. My kind of stance on Kirby. I think he's the best guy on the staff. One thing he's got to get better at and he's got to learn when players, in fact, because I just had this conversation with a couple of guys on my Little League team. Shout out Fisher Plumbing, who's practicing tonight. And we're welcoming the parents into practice tonight. It's kids versus parents pitching and home run competition. That'll be fun. I'll give you an update tomorrow on the Daily Puck Drop there on Thursday. But I had a couple chats with my pitchers on this one. Because a couple of guys, including the Vampire, get a little frustrated when plays aren't made behind them. And they show it on the mound. So I pulled them aside and said, you can't do that. One, that's not good for your teammates to see. Everybody makes a mistake. They pick you up all the time by making plays behind you. You don't need to act like that if something happens. If they bobble a ball, don't make a throw, make an error, what have you. Move on to the next play. Forget it, move on. And I would say the same thing about George Kirby. He's got to move on better. He tends to dwell on that stuff way too much. Quickly, another quarterback coming in for a visit for the Seattle Seahawks. This time, Spencer Rattler, Ian Rappaport with that at Rap Sheet. Shout out, Mayor. How are you? He visited the Seahawks yesterday. PFF ranks him the 70th overall prospect, 7th overall quarterback. Spencer Rattler, of course, spent time at Oklahoma. He left right when Caleb Williams, I think, came in, if my timeline is correct. And then, of course, went to Oklahoma State. He's considered day 2 prospect. They're bringing in quarterback, so they're at least signaling to everyone that they may draft a quarterback. I tend to think, I don't know what to believe with these guys. Either they're serious about drafting a quarterback, or this is just a bunch of smoke screens because they want people to believe that they're going to draft one. I don't know. They also brought in a couple other guys in their top 30 overall visits. Defensive end Grayson Murphy out of UCLA visited. Chop Robinson visited as well, defensive end out of Penn State. Jared Verse also made a visit, the Florida State defensive end. So, again, read into it what you want, but that's who they brought in. Hey, a real disturbing story. Sorry, my ear itches. For those listening, you didn't see that, but for those watching here, pucksports.com and YouTube, you saw that. UW running back Tybo Rogers is facing 2 counts of rape, and that's concerning. Therefore, Tybo Rogers, 2 different incidents with the same MO. He's been suspended by the program, didn't play in the Pac-12 championship game, but did play in the semifinals and the national championship game. One woman filed a Title IX complaint against Rogers and the school last November, December 15th. Ryan Grubb, the new Seahawks offensive coordinator, told SI that, quote, "We're working through some things, some challenges he had off the field. I can't comment on what it was exactly." You probably saw the video yesterday of Jed Fish. Jed Fish saying he was not aware of Rogers' previous suspension until recently. Said when he heard of the allegation, suspended indefinitely. Again, there's a lot is being made of the reporter from, I don't know what TV station she was from, thinking that he was the head coach. That's on her. She should have known better. But let's not make it about that interaction between the woman and Jed Fish, because there's people trying to make that the story right now. And the story is, who knew what at Washington, and why was this not communicated properly to everyone? Or maybe it was. But there is a failure. Again, Washington is not the only school that this happens to, but there is a failure of communication, and it starts with that school president. And I'm not a fan of this school president, but it starts with her, because I guarantee she was aware of this situation. And if she wasn't aware of the situation, then that's a failure at the highest level. This is your university. You should know what's going on. And the problem is, if you don't know what's going on, then you're not a leader. The biggest window into your school is the athletic department and is the football program. And you as a president need to be aware of all these things. But Fish said that no one in the program told him of the Rogers suspension in December. Again, that's a failure in the president and leadership at that university. And I would put it solely on Marie Cauce. Also, Fish, but here's the thing. Fish may have known. Okay, he may have known this and just played coy and played dumb when talking to reporters. That has to just at least be on the table. The way he handled the Jaden Delores situation in Arizona, he doesn't get a lot of weight with me and others of how he handled the Delores situation. So I don't know. I don't know what to believe really with that story. Terrific reporting quickly. Christian Capel on Montlake, in-depth reporting. I would go read all of his work on Montlake. It's great. Capel does a great job of breaking this all down. Clearly looks like he has the police report on all of it. In-depth reporting, the first, late November. I remember this story when we were on the radio. The first victim posted a message on Instagram accusing Rogers of raping her. She was contacted by Rogers via phone call. She doesn't know how Rogers got her number because they didn't exchange numbers. It was they met on Tinder. She hung up, blocked his number. That same day, she filed the Title IX to the UW's office. Court records include law enforcement officers' objection to Rogers being released. And I think this is kind of a scary quote here by the police officer. He said, or they said in the report, if released, Rogers is likely to commit another violent crime. So the way I read that, from the police officer's account, it appears they view Rogers as a serial rapist. That's very scary and concerning, and just an unfortunate story for all parties, for the women, for everything that's going on. And it's just scary. I mean, you read this police report, and there's a lot of, and I think more details will come out of it. I've seen portions of it, and it's it's an awful situation going on there. But again, I'll just repeat it, and maybe I'm biased because I do not like her. This is a failure of that president. That president needs to know what is going on in her athletic department and her school. And the fact is, if Jedd Fisch is telling the truth, he had no idea what was going on, that's a problem for her. And I would just ask this question. Why, when the Title IX, when it was filed with the Title IX back in December, okay, why was he not allowed, or in November, why was he not allowed to play in the Pac-12 title game, but then allowed to play in the semifinals in the national title game? That's a conversation for Troy Dannon, Kalen DeBoer, and Ryan Grubb. Those are the three people that you'd want to probably hear from. Now, I know efforts were reached out, I think, by the Seattle Times and also Christian Cable, and they declined to comment on that. Puck to Picker Masters Pool, it is out again. RunMyPools.com. Click Join Pool. Enter the code NLAT. Big thanks to Bill Sanders for reaching out, providing that. All you got to do is just click on the link, RunMyPools.com. Click Join Pool. Enter the code NLAT. Game is simple. You're going to pick 5 golfers. We base the results on money earned. Straightforward, simple, easy. No money to sign up. Completely free. If you see an ad pop up there, don't touch the ad, all right? Just click on the runmypools.com, click join pool, enter NLAT. Big thanks to several outlets for providing prizes. First place, $150 gift card to John Howie Steak. Second place, a $75 gift card to Georgetown Brewery. Third place, $50 gift card to Flat Stick Pub. So thank you to them. A quick shout out to Tara Vanderveer, Stanford basketball coach. She's retiring, made that announcement. You know, growing up as a kid, she was awesome and just the best coach. That was the best program. Just a hell of a basketball coach. Also, lastly, there's a story in the Seattle Times today, and this affects me because I encountered these people at a park the other day when I'm coaching baseball. Seattle wants to add more dog parks. I would say why? Because all anyone does in this city is take their dogs to baseball fields and throw the ball on the baseball fields. I've got 2 beautiful dogs, a black lab. She's an older lady, Maple, and Alder, the super pup, who's a chocolate lab. Listen, they love to throw the ball, and they love to run anywhere. And I hate the dog parks, especially the one that's by me in Golden Gardens and Ballard. It's awful, but I take them there because I don't take them to baseball fields, so they tear up the fields. We got a kid that busted up his ankle 2 weeks ago because there's potholes everywhere at Gilman Park where these dogs just dig in the outfield, and so there's holes everywhere. So I got into this the other day at practice because Gilman Park, and there's a Facebook page. This is what I love about these people. They have a Facebook page called Gilman Park Dog Club or something. I mean, they're advocating this is where we go to play with our dogs. And I was just telling people, because we're trying, it's a madhouse there. We're trying to keep people off of it because we had an incident in our games last week with one team playing, one team practicing. Dogs were running into the game, into a softball game, a AA softball game. And then one of the dogs jumped on one of our players. And so we're just we're trying to get the city to get on this. Can you please stop it? Can you do anything? Of course, they can't. They won't do anything, or they just don't have enough resources. And so we're just going up to people and telling them, hey, please stop. And most people, when I was at practice the other day, were fine. This one woman, and just typical 27-year-old gal who just, you can't tell her anything. This self-entitled gal. And I say, hey, and I was being nice, would you mind just please taking your dog off the park? It's not good. They're not supposed to be here. I got 2 dogs. I get it. It's easy. I know you don't like the dog park, but please, we got a kid that got hurt, busted up his ankle, and we're trying to prevent people from coming on the baseball fields anymore. And she goes, okay, I understand. So I walked away and thinking that she would leave. I take 5 steps. What does she do? She throws the ball, and she's been doing this when I was walking over there for 10 minutes. I turn my back, walk away. She throws the ball again right into the infield where the Seattle Parks had come and dragged the field. So it's perfect because they got a game coming up the next day. They've dragged it perfectly. And the dog's just tearing up the infield. And I turn around and yeah, I lost my cool, but I was well-deserved. I mean, just F-bomb after F-bomb. But again, get the damn dogs off the baseball fields. They don't belong there. This Gilman Park Dog Club. If anyone can join that Facebook group, please join it. Let me get in there somehow. I'm not on Facebook, but I would love to interact with these people, okay? That is the Daily Puck Drop, which features our first guest today, Brad Adam, Root Sports. Check him out on the pregame today. Coming up later after the game at pucksports.com, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music. We'll have Ryan Divish live from Toronto to wrap up the baseball action. Thursday's coming up. It's our NFL Football Thursday. Rob State will join us. Also, Mike Garafolo. We'll talk to you soon. As always, we promise to be better.
No shirt, no shoes, no ties.
Would anybody like to smoke some pot?
Yeah.
I was born to love you. I was born to lick your face. I was born to rub you. But you were born to rub me first.
What do you need my address for?
We'd like to send out a mailer.
Mother of mercy, I don't speak Japanese!